here. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and live. Good luck.
Merhaba arkadaşlar, hepiniz IEFT Talks webinarlarına hoş geldiniz. Bugün Dünya sıralamasında yer alan Radboud University'de eğitimi ve Hollanda'da kariyer fırsatlarını Gökçe ve Ana'dan dinliyor olacağız. Lütfen sorularınızı questions kısmından sormayı unutmayın. Yes, Anna, the stage is yours now.
Thank you very much, Zeynep, and thank you everybody for joining us today. My name is Anna Brand, and I'm here with one of our students, Gökçe. Sorry, I pronounced that completely wrong.
Fine.
I am an international marketing and recruitment officer at Radboud University, and I'll let Gökçe introduce herself real quick.
Yeah, so hello guys, my name is Gökçe. I'm a third year chemistry student at Radboud University. So if you have any questions, please type in the chat. Also, if you're uncomfortable, you can write it in Turkish and I will just help you. So enjoy the presentation, I guess.
Yeah, so please feel free to ask any questions you have in either Turkish or English, as well, I don't speak Turkish, but together we speak both languages. So yeah. I will share my presentation now, and I'll be informing you a bit more about Radboud University today. So first of all, I would like to welcome you all to this presentation on Radboud University. Today I'll be covering a little bit about what it's like to study in the Netherlands, to study in Nijmegen, where Radboud University is located. And of course, I'll be sharing a bit more about Radboud University as well. If you have any questions, just please feel free to let us know. I'll get back to the questions at the end, but we will be answering them in the chat and in the question box during the presentation already. So most of you will hopefully already have heard of the Netherlands. At least I presume that's why you're here, because you're interested in studying in the Netherlands. And when you find out about the Netherlands, you probably have heard all of the cliches. So you've heard about all the windmills that we have here, the clogs or wooden shoes that we all wear, the tulips, the cheese, the water. But do you know that the Netherlands also has a very excellent English education? Because that's also something that we're very famous for. So, as I already explained, Radboud University is located in a city called Nijmegen, which is located, as I will show you here, in the east of the Netherlands. So it's very close to the German border. It's also quite far south. So it's really easy to get to other countries as well. And we can really, travel anywhere that we want from Nijmegen. So it's easy, for example, to get to the city from Amsterdam Airport, but also from airports located in Belgium and Germany, for example. So I already explained a little bit that students choose the Netherlands because it's also well known for its excellent education, and not only just education, but English taught education, and of course its research. But also because the Netherlands is a very small country with a lot of pioneers. Of course, being such a small country, we really have to, look outwards as well and innovate and see how we can build connections and make sure that we can compete with those bigger countries like Germany, the UK, and the US, for example. So we've always been very innovative, and a lot of big multinational companies have started here in the Netherlands, such as Philips or Shell or Unilever, for example. They're all huge companies, well known wide across the world, but they all originated here in the Netherlands, and Unilever even originated in Nijmegen itself, right on our campus. So that's really interesting as well. But we're also very well known for our multicultural society. There's a lot of different nationalities that live in the Netherlands. We're an extremely open country. So we welcome students and also immigrants from all over the world to our country. And it's a great value for money as well. I'll go into the tuition fees a bit later. But education in the Netherlands is really quite affordable. Uh, Another fun fact about the Netherlands is that we have more bikes than we have people. I believe it's approximately maybe two and a bit bikes per person. So you can just imagine the sight everywhere in the Netherlands when it comes to bikes. We're also an extremely happy and healthy nation. We very often rank very highly when it comes to the happiest nation in the world, up there with the Scandinavian countries. And we have really good English proficiency here in the Netherlands as well. And again, that's connected, of course, to the fact that we're a very small country. So hardly anybody speaks our language. And in order to be able to trade and be able to kind of travel and meet new people, we really need to learn and speak the English language. So when you come to study at Radboud University, you don't necessarily need the Dutch language because almost everybody you'll encounter speaks at least a little bit of English. Then why do students choose the city of Nijmegen? Well, for me personally, this is a great image to illustrate what a lovely city Nijmegen is and what it has to offer. So as you can see, we have a beach, we have the river Maal just on the edge of the city, and we have very modern buildings, but also very historic buildings. We have an extremely historic city centre. We're one of the oldest cities in the Netherlands. So it's really lovely to walk around and kind of see that mixture now between old and new. So students really choose to come and study in Nijmegen because it's an extremely lively student town. I don't know if you want to say anything about that. How have you experienced that up until now, Gökçe?
Yeah, exactly. So I think what I like most about Nijmegen is that the city is built for students. So the city is very quiet during the week, but the city is very colorful from Friday to Sunday. On weekdays, students usually work because of the university. But when Friday comes, it's a great place to really relax and have fun with your friends. So I really like it.
Great, thank you very much. And what is your favorite thing to do in Nijmegen on the weekends?
I guess if the weather is not too bad, just visit the river you saw a slide before. So it's really cool to bike there and enjoy the view. And but the weather, when the weather was bad actually, so I just visit the great cafes there and just have a bite or have a drink with my friends.
Great, thank you very much for sharing. Yeah, so as you can see, it's not only that we think that students like Nijmegen because of that, but students really do like Nijmegen because it is so lively and it has so many great cafes and places to eat. It's also, as I already explained, a great hub for exploring. It's very close to all of the major airports in the neighborhood, so it's very easy to get about. But also within the Netherlands, it's very easy to just find a train or a bus that takes you somewhere. And it's a very bike-friendly city as well. So when students arrive in Nijmegen, we always recommend that they get a second-hand bike because it's just so much easier. It makes you so much more flexible as well when you're going somewhere within the city. But we do also have a great citywide bus network for you to travel everywhere you want. We also have great train connections within the Netherlands, as I already explained, but also train connections to other places abroad. And the Flixbus stops in Nijmegen, which is a bus service that's quite well known here in Western Europe. I think it originated in Germany. And it basically takes you between bigger cities in the Netherlands, but also in Germany and Belgium. And they often have really cheap tickets as well. So it really makes it easy if you want to kind of go somewhere and explore to travel around. And now about Radboud University itself. Students really like Radboud University because of the modern facilities that we offer. We keep renewing the campus. We just opened the Maria Montessori building a couple of years ago, or a year ago, I should say, really. And that's our newest building on campus, and we're always looking at how we can improve the rest of the campus. We have a lot of multimedia centers on campus. So each faculty building has a multimedia center in which students can go and study and work together in groups as well. We have a central university library as well. We have great IT facilities and a lot of high-tech laboratories. And as a chemistry student, I'm sure, Gauthier, that you use those laboratories quite a lot in
Yeah, a
the
lot.
Huygens building.
Yeah, a lot. And it was really good. Like all of my classes were actually in the lab. Not all of my, but like most of my classes were in the lab. And like it was really good. And like the experiences were really good, and all the chemicals were really good. Like I was shocked before. I didn't know there were so much chemicals in there. So like the facilities are really good.
Great. And that's, of course, yeah, the laboratories are mainly interesting for students who are interested in the more science subjects. But we also have laboratories in which social sciences does their research as well. So it's not just focused on science students, but of course, if you talk about a lab, if you read about a lab, you always immediately think of those labs that scientists use. So I always like to kind of go back to them. And we also have some other great research facilities that you can see behind or on the picture here on the slide, such as the High Field Magnet Laboratory, where some students maybe, but also mainly professors do a lot of research using one of the world's strongest magnets that is right on campus as well. So we have an extremely green campus, which really appeals to students as well. There's a lot of green spaces. There's a lot of trees around. Students really love sitting there when it's nice weather, kind of enjoying their lunch as well. And it really makes it kind of a nice place to go from one lecture to the next. It's roughly 1 square kilometer, and we are really working hard to become a 100% sustainable campus. So whenever we build a new building, we make sure that it's very sustainable. We try and use sustainable materials as well, and really work on, the next best technology too. But also there's smaller initiatives as well, very often come from students. We have a Radboud Green office, and they work a lot together with students, and students can always go and provide input for any initiatives that they have, to kind of help us become a more sustainable campus. I already mentioned that the Netherlands is a very multicultural society, but that's also reflected in our student population and our staff population. So on campus, there are roughly 100 different nationalities. And we have a lot of international student organizations as well that help support these students and kind of give those students opportunities to meet one another and to find kind of their crowd. What we really value at Radboud University is a personal approach to pretty much everything we do. So that's also teaching, but also student support. So unlike many other countries in the Netherlands, the structure isn't very hierarchical. So that means that there's a very close connection between professors and their staff. They will know the students by name very often, and they really like to give that personal information and feedback to the students as well. We also do a lot of interdisciplinary research. So that means that all of our faculties work together. For example, the science faculty has master programs that are partially taught at the Nijmegen School of Management, and the arts faculty and the philosophy faculty, for example, will work really close together as well. All of our teachers are also researchers, which means that a lot of the research is also integrated within the teaching, and that means that students can, get the first new knowledge that is available to them, really. These are a couple of the examples of the research facility. I already showed you a picture of the Heinfield Magnet Laboratory, which I think is very cool. But we also work together with the Donders Institute for Brain, Cognition and Behavior and the Max Planck Institute for Psycholinguistics. So if you're interested in neuroscience or more linguistics, those are also interesting research facilities that we work together with. Then just a quick summary of the rankings. We have been voted Best Traditional University, I think 9 times in the last 10 years, or maybe 10 years in the last 11 years even. And that means that in the Netherlands, students really value us and really think that we're the #1 university with the traditional faculty. So traditional doesn't mean traditional teaching, but it more means that it's a traditional university setup of the faculties that you would expect at university. We also rank 101 in the Shanghai rankings, 24th in the European teaching rankings, 131st in the Times Higher Education rankings, and 214th in the QS rankings. And that means that we are part of the top 2% in the world when it comes to the worldwide rankings. If you look at the percentage of staff and students that are international versus Dutch, you will see that's still quite a small percentage, but we do have just over 2,000 international students on our campus and almost 1,500 members of staff in our campus that are international as well. We also have the Radboud Sports Center here, which is a state-of-the-art sports center on campus. It's located right next door to the Elinor Ostrom building, which is the Nijmegen School of Management building, and really close to the Erasmus building that you see here on the picture as well. It was voted #1 university sports center in the world, and we offer more than 80 different sports for just over €100 per year. So I've talked a lot about what Radboud University is and what we have to offer, but of course the most important part is what can you actually study at Radboud University. So as you can see here, we have roughly 14 different English taught bachelor's programs. And 3 of those programs are numerous fixes programs, which means that we have a selection and placement procedure for them. That also means that the deadlines are slightly different, which I will get to later. So those programs are artificial intelligence, biology, and psychology. All of the other programs have unlimited places available, and you can apply to until the normal deadline. In order to be admitted, you need to have obtained a high school diploma that is equivalent to that of a Dutch VWO diploma. So for Turkey, that would generally mean lycée diplomatie with a GPA of at least 80. And of course, it could be that we have program-specific requirements. So it could be that some of our programs require a slightly higher GPA. They require different GPAs for different subjects, for example. So that's very important to check before applying as well. And you can check that on our program websites. And please note that all diplomas will be assessed individually. So it's always important to remember that we will never assess 2 diplomas exactly the same. So even though I'm explaining a bit more about our general requirements, it could still be that you don't meet the entry requirements. And we also require a proof of language proficiency. So that's a TOEFL, an IELTS, or Cambridge certificate. But you can find all of that information on the website as well. Then I already mentioned that we have 3 selection and placement programs, which are artificial intelligence, biology, and psychology. So if you're applying, please check iu.nl/selection and placement and start applying now, because the deadlines are really early. They're 15th of January. So it's important to start your application now if you're interested in any of those programs. Then we have a lot of English taught master's programs as well. If I would list all of them and all the specializations that we have, there would be no slide left. So we decided to group them all together. We have different programs in the fields of business and economics, computer science, humanities, law, medical science, spatial planning, human geography, social and behavior sciences, public administration, and political science as well. And of course the sciences. So if you're interested in any of those fields, just go visit our website and find out exactly which programs we have there. In order to be admitted to those programs, you need to obtain a bachelor degree that is equivalent to a Dutch bachelor's degree from a research university. And there will be program-specific requirements here as well, and language requirements. And it's very important to note that the bachelor's degree needs to be in the same field of study as the master's degree. Some of our programs do offer pre-master programs, which help you prepare for master's programs. So that's, it says here, when the background is not sufficient or doesn't match, I would say. So I already explained, of course, that we need a bachelor's degree from a Dutch research university. And that's because in the Netherlands we have 2 types of universities. So it could be that you have a bachelor's degree in economics and you want to study a master's in economics, but we in our research have found that the bachelor's diploma is more valued at a University of Applied Sciences level. then the background would still not match the master's program requirements, so you could be eligible for a pre-master's program instead. Same if you have studied chemistry at a Dutch or equivalent to a Dutch research university, but want to study business administration, then the background is also not suited because you studied something different, and that could also be a reason for us to advise you to take a pre-master's program. You can find all of our pre-master's programs at ru.nl/pre-masters if you want to find out a little bit more. So in order to apply in the Netherlands, you need to start your application at StudyLink, which is a Dutch website, and that's the same for all Dutch universities. And then you can upload your documents to Osiris as well. The deadline for non-EU students is the 1st of April, unless you apply to a selective bachelor's program. That is the 15th of January. My apologies. Of course, I know you're also all interested in how much it would cost. So the tuition fee for bachelor's students is between 11,500 and 15,000 euros a year. And for masters, it's between 11,500 and 22,000 euros a year. For master's programs, we do have a number of scholarships available. So we have the Radboud Scholarship Program, which is a partial scholarship that students can apply for. We also have the Radboud Encouragement Scholarship, which is a fully funded scholarship that students can apply for. But I have to note that the number of Radboud Encouragement scholarships we have is extremely limited, and that we have very strict selection criteria for that particular scholarship. So it's good to check at iu.nl/scholarships to find out more information on this program. We also have the Holland Scholarship Program, which is a tuition fee discount of, I think, about 5,000 euros. And some program-specific scholarships as well. Then a little bit about student life. We don't really recommend that first-year bachelor students work when they come to the Netherlands, because we know that it's extremely challenging to start a new study somewhere in a completely different country, where you still start trying to know people and you're trying to get used to the university system. So that's why we don't recommend this. And knowing some Dutch is useful when you're trying to find a job, but it's not necessary. We on campus work together with campus data sharing, and there you will find all of the jobs that we have available at the university. There's not a lot, but it might be interesting for you to check out. And non-EU students do require a work permit and can only work, 16 hours per week. So that's also extremely important to note, that if you do decide to come and work in the Netherlands, you can only, or during your studies at least, you can only work 16 hours per week. We also have a lot of different food options available on campus. We have supermarkets, we have on-campus pubs even, and we have a couple of restaurants and food courts around as well. So you can either opt for hot or cold options at the university, or of course bring your own. We will help you quite a lot and we will assist you. As I already mentioned, we find it very important that students feel supported, that there is that personal connection with you, and that starts from the moment that you apply. So before arriving at university, we will assist you with visa and housing as well. And we will hopefully from next year onwards be at Schiphol Airport again to be able to welcome you when you arrive in the Netherlands. So during your studies, we find it very important that you're supported by study or student advisors, mentors, tutors. We have student deans on campus as well, student trainers, student psychologists, pretty much anything you can think of in terms of support we have available. But it's up to you to ask for the help. We also organize an orientation week during the 3rd week of August, which is a great way to get to know the campus and the city as well. And it's for Dutch and international students. So that means that you get to meet your fellow students as well. And of course, make friends. We also offer a lot of different activities during your studies. So you can find some of the things that are offered at Radboud University here. And some of them might be more related to your studies, and some of them will be more related to your personal life. We also offer courses in social Dutch. As I mentioned, it might be good to know a little bit of Dutch when you try and find a job here, but it will also help you integrate. So you don't need Dutch, but it's a nice feature to have. Then you can pretty much find a study or student association for anything you have. Anything you can think of, really. So you can have a look at what you're interested in and join a student association for that as well, to meet more people. So then, just to summarize, what are 5 reasons students choose to study at Radboud University? Well, number 1, because we are the best traditional university in the Netherlands. Secondly, because we have a very wide range of study options, so there's something here for everybody. Our diplomas are recognized worldwide. We have a very personal approach to teaching. We have excellent services and facilities as well. Is there another reason, Gökçe, that students should come and study at Radboud University that I haven't mentioned?
Yeah, I can just share my personal
Yeah,
opinion.
definitely.
Yeah, so the reason why I chose the Netherlands was actually because I wanted to study chemistry, and it is a bit difficult to study fundamental sciences in Turkey these days, and like I think the education is not enough. So at the same time, I wanted to study in English. So the results of these reasons made me think about the Netherlands, and eventually chose Radboud because of how efficient their science department is, and basically it's a research university, so I thought it's the best option for me.
Okay, great. So I hope that gives you another bit of insight into why you should study or choose to study at Radboud University. If you have any further questions after today, you can always contact us via one of these channels, or follow us on social media. That's a great way to stay updated on everything that's going on at Radboud University and the events that we have coming up. So on Instagram, for example, or on Facebook, if you follow Study at Radboud, then you'll really find a lot of updates there as well. We also have a couple of events coming up, so please feel free to join those. Have a look at our website. Those are for bachelors, these are for masters. And yeah, I would like to thank you very much for your time. We will still be here. I'll just stop sharing my screen now so we can answer some of the questions that you have.
Yeah.
Although I'm sure that we've already been answering quite a few questions.
Yeah, I've been answering, but like it's the end of the slide, so it's a little bit faster right now. So
Yeah, of course. So which questions shall we start with?
Eda said, how is career opportunities for international students after graduation in Holland?
So there are quite a few career opportunities in the Netherlands, of course. It is always easier to find work as an international student if you do speak a little bit of Dutch, but we have a lot of international organizations in the Netherlands, mainly in cities like Amsterdam or Rotterdam as well, that hire a lot of international students. So there are definitely options. And something that I forgot to mention just now as well is that we have an orientation year visa in the Netherlands, which means that you can apply to remain in the Netherlands for a year after you finish your studies. So you can either do that after completing your bachelor's or choose to first complete a master's and then apply for the orientation year visa. And that grants you an extra year to find a job here in the Netherlands. So that's also quite nice. And that's a nice advantage as well of coming to study here. So then there's a question as well. How long does the application process take after providing necessary documents?
That one.
Yeah.
Actually in the chat. So
Great.
Yeah. So there are other questions. I didn't know about that. Okay.
Yeah. So the application decision itself will take about 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks generally, once you've applied. So once we say you have provided all necessary documents, it'll take us about 3 to 4 weeks to let you know whether you've been admitted. But indeed, as been explained, it takes a few months for everything to be processed because we can't start the visa application process until about May, June. Also, because that's when the IND allows us to start the visa application. And also, you can still hand in your diploma, for example, until the 15th of August. So your enrollment probably won't be finalized until the summer. But just applying and being admitted takes a couple of weeks. Then there's also a question about the associate degree. How can I check if the university can accept my credits? So for that, I would definitely recommend that you contact the science department, because I'm presuming that you want to continue into computer science. So we can definitely pop the email address that you would need there, so you can contact them directly to see.
For the computing science.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I'm doing that right now.
Then the internships and job opportunities at Radboud University. So we don't necessarily have partner companies as such, but we do have a career service department, both at central level and at each faculty as well. And they work together with a lot of companies. They organize career events. We're launching a new platform quite soon as well that will allow us to connect alumni to students and also post all of the job advertisements there and the internship opportunities that we hear about. So we don't necessarily facilitate that as such, as in, we don't say, here's the company, this is a student, you have an internship. But we do offer you information on the companies that have internships available or job opportunities available. We can assist you with a lot of the what was I going to say? CV checks, motivation letters, how to be in a in a job interview. So all of that we can assist you with. So that's good to know. How much are the fees for accommodation and
Yeah, I just sent the link.
yeah.
But I don't know if you want to say something, you can always.
Yeah. So the fees or the housing fees for accommodation that we offer, or we work with partners that offer that for us, are roughly about 370 to 470 euros a month. And in Nijmegen, it's pretty similar. You might find something slightly cheaper, but all of the accommodation that we work with is fully furnished. So that is also something to take into account. And what I do find important to say is that in the Netherlands in general, there is a bit of an issue, I would say, with housing. Of course, we as universities are working extremely hard to make sure that this improves in the coming years. But it is good to know that we at Radboud University are one of the only universities that is able to offer this amount of service when it comes to housing. So it's also very important to look at the housing offers that we have, and if you are offered assistance, to take that assistance, because we see far too often that students are offered assistance and that they decide that they can find something cheaper by themselves, and that doesn't work out. So it's important to keep into account. There's also a question about the schedule time programs for masters. When we so generally we inform all of students for the scheduling a couple of weeks, I would say, before the block starts. In summer we release the schedule for block 1 already, and then throughout the block we release a new schedule for the next block. And you will also be updated on all of the reading materials and things that you need at the beginning of the block. So it's not that you will find out everything a year in advance already. And in terms of the scheduling time, all of our programs are full-time programs, so that's very important to keep into account. Of course, you're not expected to be in class all day. Every day. You're only expected to be in class for bachelors generally about 20 hours a week. For masters, a little bit less. But there's a lot of self-study that comes involved in our programs. So we do expect you to be busy 40 hours a week. So just take that into account. I'm sure that that's also your experience up until now as well, right? That you need to do a lot of self-study. And I think that you're also trying to find the annual tuition fee for medical school. And
yeah, I'm trying to find in the links you sent me, but I can't find the medical school one, so I'm a bit confused.
Yeah, probably because that's only if you're talking about our medical program to become a doctor, that's only taught in Dutch. And it's best, I'll just try and find that information, but it's probably best to contact them directly, because it is a very tough and also not very straightforward procedure to be able to apply to them. And you will indeed need Dutch, and the tuition fees are also a bit higher, but I don't know off the top of my head how much that would be, but I'll find you the information and you can contact them directly, so you can Wait, that's not the right program. Here we go. No, I'm Oh yeah. So I did find the right email address, but I thought it was the wrong one. Yeah, here it is. Apologies for the delay. The approach time schedule, I really can't say anything about that because it differs so much per program, and it differs a lot between blocks, semesters, everything. So we really can't give you that kind of information. It could be that 1 week you have classes on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and on in a different week you might have classes on a Tuesday evening and a Thursday morning. It's really hard to say, so we can't really say anything about that. In terms of your question regarding environmental engineering and the programs that we suggest, yeah, water and environment might be an interesting one indeed. And we also have environmental and social, environmental and environment and society studies. Sorry, that's the name. Could also be interesting, but I wonder if that would be a great match because of your engineering background. So that's something that I'm not 100% certain on. But mainly engineering and those kind of subjects are more taught at technical universities. So it might also be good for you to check out Delft and Eindhoven because they might have even more suitable programs for you. I believe that were all of the questions, or did I miss anything?
There's a last question. It says job quarantine, then finish university, and how is visa politics? I don't know what you meant by
yeah, so in terms of job guarantees, of course we can't really say anything about that, about the job guarantee that you have after finishing university, because we aren't a job center, but in general, about 90% of our graduates find a job after 1.5 years, within 1.5 years after finishing their masters in the field that they studied in. So that's also important to note. Visa politics in the Netherlands is fine. If Radboud University is comfortable to sponsor you, which we would be if your application is extremely straightforward, then there should be no problem for you obtaining a study visa here in the Netherlands. It's a bit of a different situation with regards to a work visa if you've finished studying, because there are certain criteria that you need to meet. But that's why we also have an orientation year visa that kind of helps you because you don't have to have a job after graduation straight away. You have a year to find one, so that's quite nice. How much is the scholarship average? So I already explained the Holland scholarship is about 5,000 euros. The Radboud scholarship program waives your tuition fees to the legal tuition fees of the Netherlands. So that's just over 2,000 euros that you then have to pay instead of the 11,000 to the 22,000 euros that you need to pay otherwise. And yeah, we have a very limited number of scholarships, so it's very I can't say that you have a lot of luck in it. Well, you have to have a lot of luck to obtain a scholarship, but that should definitely not encourage you from applying for one. But yeah, we have a lot of students that are interested in these scholarships every single year, and we have a limited number that we can provide. So it's also very important to make sure that you have the funding that you need when you come to the Netherlands or when you plan to come to the Netherlands, and not rely on applying for scholarship. Yeah, so I can put our email in the chat. It was on the slide earlier, so I'll just pop it there. So if you want to contact us, you can always contact studyinformation@iu.nl as well.
All right, thank you very much for your answers, Anna and Gökçe. I think you covered all of the questions.
Yes,
Yeah.
I tried to, but if I left something, you can just always ask me.
Also, I can see you shared in email addresses. So if any of our participants want to get any other information, we will ask them to reach out to you from those email addresses.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much for your great presentation. It was a really informative webinar for the attendees. And thank you very much for your answers too. Also, I would like to thank the participants in Turkish as well. Katıldığınız için teşekkür ederiz arkadaşlar. Radboud University ile ilgili diğer sorularınız için questions kısmında paylaşılmış olan mail adreslerinden iletişime geçebilirsiniz. Umarız sizin için de faydalı bir webinar olmuştur. Aynı zamanda sizi altıdaki webinarımıza da davet etmek isteriz. Thank you very much again, you guys. It was a pleasure to have you in IEFT Talks.
Of course.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.